Let me just start out by saying we live in strangely surreal times. These are times in which a person with wealth, power, influence, connections to, or even offices within the highest levels of government, that person can say something so revealing, so disturbing, so filled with hate, and yet the expected response and the moral indignation that one would anticipate is shockingly and tragically non-existent. Yeah, this is one of those moments.
Again.
Welcome to the Sky Pilot podcast that explores questions of faith, spirituality, and religion. I'm Dan Matthews, and I don't have all the answers, but I do enjoy the questions. Welcome to the podcast where every question is an invitation into a spiritual quest, and you're invited along for the journey.
Look, let's be honest. There are lots of things I could focus on right now. One of the problems with this podcast as I begin to look at the moral landscape of the nation around us is that I can't keep up. There are so many things happening within the Trump sphere that I could do 16 episodes a day. We could talk about any number of current issues here, but I will take this time to point out something that did not get much, if any, popular press. I will admit, when I heard it, I immediately thought, yeah, that can't be right. So I checked it out. Surely, no, this can't be right. And it turns out it wasn't right, but only in the moral sense. It was sadly very much true. The most recent disturbing occurrence, got lost in the fog of the Venezuela action. On January 3rd, Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and Elon Musk gathered for dinner at Mar-a-Lago, which went, not surprisingly, largely unnoticed because that same date turned out to be the day Trump ordered the military strike on Venezuela and the extraction and arrest of its leader and his wife.
I can't decide if I should say, who cares, or that's hardly news.
True, except for a couple of things. One, they had had a bit of a falling out, if you recall. So this signals a thaw between Elon and Trump. And then following this meal, Elon himself tweeted, "Had a lovely dinner last night with POTUS and FLOTUS, President of the United States and First Lady of the United States. Had a lovely dinner last night with POTUS and FLOTUS. 2026 is going to be amazing." So the relationship is thawing, and Elon is optimistic. Now, we don't know if he's optimistic about what Trump will do, about their relationship, or maybe it's a combination of both. Interestingly, there is another figure who plays into this story, into what we're talking about here, but wasn't at the table. What's important is what was tweeted by this person who seems initially unrelated to the Musk-Trump bromance. This guy has a site called The Wall. And he's just wacky. He's disturbingly wacky. He seems focused on teaching men to defeat women, subjugate them, and take what he calls men's rightful place to rule. And let's be clear, when he says men, he means white men. Now, interestingly, I've done a fair bit of searching on the internet, and I can't find out who he is. He appears to write from the shadows. To put this in perspective, here's something he tweeted about the proper way for men to interact with women. The tweet is titled, "Tips to Hypnotize Women," which I could probably stop right there. Tips to hypnotize women. Number 1, tell them no. Number 2, believe you are God's only son. Number 3, only think about yourself. Number 4, reject all guilt and shame. Number 5, keep secrets. Now, as a matter of faith, as an ordained minister, I'm pretty sure that believing you are God's only son is heresy unless you're in the process of starting a new religion exclusively centered on yourself. And then it's only not heretical in your new religion.
Surely we can find out who he is.
Yeah, that's one of the strange things. There's no clear record, as I said, of who he is. No picture, no speaking engagements, no people stepping forward saying that they know him.
He definitely has the vibe of an isolated man speaking his truth boldly while hiding in his mother's basement.
Yes, he does. And before you decide that his handle on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, looks like a name and you'll just go online and figure out who he is, it's just the same thing backwards and forwards. So it's Jerr and then underline and then RREJ, which is, again, just Jerr backwards. So there's not a lot of information there to track him down. So again, to figure out better who he is, here's a quote from his book, The Wall. "We won't let them sink us until every woman kneels in submission before every man." Now, I didn't forget to put in the apostrophe. His books are evidently riddled with grammatical and punctuation errors. I did not read them. That's just kind of the synopsis of other people who have.
Which again indicates his working in isolation, doesn't it?
Right? He isn't even running this by like-minded friends or even letting ChatGPT function as his proofreader. He's really, really carefully protecting his identity and isolating himself, keeping secrets. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and just tell you that there isn't a woman prostrating herself before him. And to be honest, I don't think there's ever been a woman in his life. And I mean, ever.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet against you on that one.
Anyway, this strange and disturbingly wrong guy decided to post about what he claims is the most endangered group in our nation. And that is, you probably guessed it, white men. He wrote, "If white men become a minority, we will be slaughtered." Remember, if non-whites openly hate white men while white men hold a collective majority, then they will be 1,000 times more hostile and cruel when they are a majority over whites. White solidarity is the only way to survive. Now, this tweet might have gone completely unnoticed. Just another angry post from someone hiding in the shadows or hiding in his mother's basement, except that a very famous person responded. That famous person, of course, is Elon Musk, and his response was simple. He replied to that tweet 100%. So Elon Musk has now gone on record saying he 100% agrees with the claim that we're, in my interpretation of this, we're on the verge of what reads like a race war, and that the only way for white men to survive it is to band together in solidarity, treating everyone else as the enemy. And again, to that, Elon Musk said 100%.
Oh my, times are tough for him, evidently. Help me, how much money does he have now?
Okay, he is the wealthiest man in the world. And to put that into perspective, he's roughly as wealthy as number 2, 3, and 4 on the list combined.
Oh, I can see why he feels so threatened.
Yeah. And here's where this connects back to that dinner on January 3rd. The basement dweller's tweet went out on January 7th. Elon Musk agreed with it on January 7th. And yet, oddly, no one has even asked the president whether he agrees with the statements made by Elon Musk, who had just been his dinner companion days earlier. Now, stop for a minute. Any president other than Donald Trump, at any time in the last 30 years, would have been forced to explain his relationship with Elon Musk, and in this moment, whether or not he agrees with such a divisive and, I would say, racist statement supported by someone he had just dined with at the president's table. So clearly he just dined with at the president's invitation. Let's all say the obvious here. Elon Musk didn't make a reservation at the club and just happened to get seated with the president. This was all by the president's choice and design. To me, this sequence of events and the relationships and connections between, well, these three men should have been questioned. It should have been investigated. It should have raised alarms throughout our nation, or at least with our press. And that's it. That's really what I want to say. That's all for today. Just me raising the alarm of something that should have gotten a lot more attention than it did. We've just seen another indication of white nationalism openly being espoused by people in Trump's immediate orbit. by someone he just had a private dinner with as his club. And yet, the world stays frighteningly silent. And that terrifies me.
Thanks for joining us here today and being part of the SkyPilot Faith Quest community. This is a great place to ask questions you wouldn't feel comfortable or safe asking in other places. And remember, the sign of a strong faith, solid religion, or healthy spiritual journey is not certainty, but that you keep asking questions.